Guide to the Fighting Arts. I'm your host, Dan Donzella. Tonight's show is coming from Salt City Athletics in Syracuse on Miller Ave. Tonight you're going to meet Sifu John Walsh in a style called Ling Chun. But first I want to get back to an interview I had with Sifu Walsh earlier in the year, and we'll get back to the school after that. At your school, you're teaching martial arts besides boxing.
Yes, we box in every respect. The Kung Fu style that we practice is Wing Chun. A lot of you, yourself, you're familiar with the style. A lot of people are. It's kind of still, you know, not as mainstream as a lot of the systems you hear about. But it's very well known for its combat effectability. It's like the quick road to combat effectiveness. What I do is I keep both programs separate. I keep Wing Chun separate from boxing. The boxers and the Kung Fu people train together. Everybody does the boxer's workout, and I find that the martial artists are in much better condition than you'll find in most schools. We have about a 60% attrition rate a month, so that gives you a kind of idea of what type of work ethic we expect. We encourage a lot of boxing drills as well as Wing Chun hand technique drills. We figure that the more production in terms of punching a session will produce a much better puncher. The 4 gates drill teaches us to deflect and strike at the same time. When a student progresses to a more advanced stage, it becomes free form, and the feet are also combined with the hands so that we block, strike, and kick at the same time.
Okay. Now, you start.
When you deflect using any of these techniques, it's important to use the elbow as the focal point to the deflection. If you stop a man's elbow, you stop his arm from the inside or the outside. Technique number 2. In regards to trapping, the hands speak for themselves. Number 2, once again. Trapping technique number 3. Number 3 once again. And facing the partner.
All you got to do is
your stance.
throw it the muscle. Just like catch it from
the idea of when you're facing your partner is to go hand to hand. Wing Chun is true hand-to-hand combat. Beautiful. You check the elbow.
That was great.
See, once this elbow is checked, this hand can't punch you.
Where's it going? No.
Okay, if he raises this knee. Okay, just by the way that you stand, checking that closest elbow from your opponent, seal him off. We do this simultaneous with a punch. When you feel the pressure from the block happen, you use the junction point between arms as a hinge gate to affect the trap. Jin Na is the Chinese art of locking, seizing, and controlling. It is an ancient concept that Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, and Aikido sprang from. The effectability of the technique comes from using the dynamics of leverage and the Kung Fu philosophy of going with the flow of an attack. As you can see, Sifu Carter guides the opponent in the direction of the flow of the attack. When they go to poke, all right? Like I tell all my students, never fight. But the minute they touch you, the fight is already begun. And that's a situation where you're going to be using Wing Chun technique. Could be a punch, could be a poke. Check checking the elbow like we always do, trading hands, making the hit, and then seizing. Wing Chun method of seizing would be in a situation where we blend to the attack, similar that you've seen maybe in styles of jiu-jitsu or aikido. When being rushed, you can make use of your opponent's force. Bong Sao. Take down. Another Wing Chun technique is a quick slap. Okay. If the punch comes in karate style or boxing style, to use a full extension, you slap against the joint, then seizing. Another technique where we're going to the elbow will be in a situation where they might have a knife or it might be a punch. And what we do is we make use from joint to joint to joint. From joint to joint, the attack to joint. So we're making use of the arm right to the neck. And making use and controlling the opponent through his spine. Okay. Two types of force: shock effect, follow through, the 1-inch punch. Another thing that I would say about the punch is that it doesn't have to be done from a demonstration point of view. The center punch of Wing Chun, each one of them can be shock effect, each one of them can be follow through. So when you're blitzing somebody using the knee, in Wing Chun we call this attack number 1. You're coming with your knee and you're coming with the punch. So it creates a situation. If you try to block the knee, you have too many punches coming. If you try to tie up the punches, then you have the knee concern in the lower half of your body. So it's very effective. This 1-inch punch can be used in a fight. It's not just a demonstration technique. Okay, likewise, and you can keep adding. People. The iron jacket technique is done with Wing Chun, Wing Chun style. It's similar to other systems of Chinese boxing as well as some karate styles. Some better known like Goju-Ryu that use the Sanshin principle of breathing. It's also used in boxing as well. We practice it when we do medicine ball. The medicine ball strikes you, you convulse your stomach muscles, you give up the air. Now, anybody who's ever had the wind knocked out of them knows that it's an unpleasant experience, okay? Now, the reason why we get the wind knocked out of us is because the force that comes in is faster and greater than our ability to give up the air when we're hit, okay? So the iron jacket technique teaches us that when there's contact, there's a reflex. The reflex action would be to tighten the muscles and give up the air. To tighten the muscles. You don't know when you're going to be hit. He could be faking you out. And if you try to give up that air and then you start to breathe in and then you get hit, guess what? Boom, you get the air knocked out of you. That's why we have to condition ourselves to give it up as soon as we get hit. Once we get hit, we feel that contact. The reflex is to convulse the stomach muscles and give up that air. Okay, Bruce? Okay? You convulse the stomach muscles, you give up the air. Because I give up the air faster than he can knock it out of me, I don't get winded. So people that perfect this technique, if you have good control of your upper body and you have good control against your opponent's arms in a fight, if a random punch or a knee or a kick should land home into the stomach, you have the necessary training and the ability to be able to throw off that force without getting winded. One of the most renowned techniques of Wing Chun Kung Fu is the Chi Sao. This is the double-handed Chi Sao. It is a sensitivity drill. This aspect is known as Lak Sao, or the rolling arms technique. Once any change is made or interaction, it becomes Xiong Chi Sao, and here you will see Mr. Battle and Mr. Palastro performing some very basic Xiong Chi Sao techniques. A lot of Wing Chun stylists out there proclaim that the Chi Sao is strictly a sensitivity training drill. Well, it is, but I have to disagree in that I feel that the Chi Sao is very valuable for fighting techniques that comes off from the interactive stage. Where there's contact, there's reflex. In doing Chi Sao, we must seek to cleave to the center point. Here are some examples of Xiong Chi Sao. Do that one again. Examples of China Chi Sao. This is something new that's been brought to the art. Wing Chun being so rich in traps, it would only be logical that grappling should follow suit. Again, Wing Chun is a very spontaneous art. We let our hands, the education of our hands, do the thinking for us. Because if you think before you fight, then the propriety of the moment has been lost. Contact, reflex, and the sensitivity of touch are paramount. Unlike a lot of rigid systems, Wing Chun teaches us to be very experimental. Experimentation is the mother of invention. And here we have Sifu Charles Carter on the right of your screen and Sifu Sharif Bey on the left. Although from two different styles of Kung Fu, Sifu Carter